Hello, awesome folks. I hope you're having just an absolutely magnificent day today. Today, welcome back to my Serial Saturday, where I dedicate the Saturday to the forgotten genre of telling stories, the movie Serial. Today, we're going to be looking at 1935's The Phantom Empire by Mascot Pictures, starring Gene Autry. It's a combination of three genres: science fiction, westerns, and musicals for you folks. This blends all three of them together. This is a unique IP and did well in theaters too, and I enjoy it too. My notes here are on the phone, just as a heads up, so if you see me looking at my phone during the course of this, looking down, not giving you the eye contact you deserve, that's because of that. So for just heads up, right? It's a fast-paced 12-episode serials. Many first serials are more of like 13 episodes, or even, and some sequels might be 14 or 15 or 15 or even longer than that, with a faster 20-minute serials and so forth. Some are many are less than 20 minutes, like 17 or 18 minutes, and so forth. I'll link it to them online on YouTube, where I've watched it for the second time for you folks. And this is very fast. Only the first episode is longer than 20 minutes. It's about half an hour long, and so forth. So it's a faster paced, shorter series length, and so forth. I just watched this again for the second time yesterday, so I can review it for you folks. I actually watched this when I was doing a deep dive into Weird West, which blends Western genres with things like sci-fi and fantasy or horror. If you'll recall, about a year ago, and I was reading a bunch of things too. I was watching and watching stuff too, like TV shows and that sort of a thing. And reading comics and such, and doing reviews of a collection of stuff too, if you'll recall. And this was something that I did just last year for you folks. So I thought it would be fun for me to go back a second time and watch it fresh now that I'm doing serial reviews for you folks. A forgotten way of telling stories for you folks. And so this like I mentioned before, this stars Gene Autry as himself. Frankie Darrow and Betsy King Ross are his sidekicks. There's their brother and sister here. They are Frankie and Betsy Baxter for you folks. Those are the names of those characters. Betsy King Ross was a trick writer that won some champion stuff as a kid. She was the daughter of a trick writer too, so she learned all his tricks and so forth. Although she'll leave. She did a few serials and westerns where she does some trick writing stuff and such. But then she'll leave just after I think one more at the age of 15 for you folks, before she hits 16. And their family respects that because they wanted her to live her life for you folks. Just as a heads up, Betsy King Ross is for you folks. And then we have Dorothy Christie as Queen Tika, and Wheeler Oakman as Lord Tika for you folks. That are Lord Tika for you folks, and they are in the kingdom of Marania under his tutelage for you folks. So now, like I like to do is a fast, recap instead of a deep dive into some spoiler stuff, because this is a spoiler-free review into the first episode, just to get you caught up and set up with what's happening with you folks. So basically, in the first chapter, we'll see Gene Autry as a singing cowboy with a 2 p.m. performance every day for his contract that he has to keep. It's a live performance on radio. Its popularity is keeping this dude ranch out of the way in business and so forth. There are a couple of groups of businessmen and some soldiers that they've hired, like mercenaries, that have proof that there is nearby on the ranch's property. There's a rare mineral that is in small values, but it's hugely valuable. We worth millions of dollars then, which would be worth a lot more money today. And so forth. And so they need to stop Gene Autry's performance because he's keeping the ranch in business and people on the property. And so they're going to be against him and so forth. And again, underneath the ranch is the queen from the sci-fi kingdom of the Marania with robots and such. It's a sci-fi kingdom under him that want to stop him because they need to keep their secret that they exist safe. So they are both them and the scientists that are seeking the rare mineral. So they're both, seeking Gene Silence's silence. So they're both interested in taking him out for various reasons. So there you are. So that's a basic plot, though, of this and so forth. It has great pacing, like I mentioned before, a shorter length, a unique IP, which I think they do very, very well. And Gene Autry is just incredibly good here. This is his first starring role and such, and it will put him on the map in a major way if it's successful. He's going to get tons of starring roles and such moving forward. So you definitely want to check that out. The only issue to my mind is the comic relief that has some physical elements and some non-physical elements into it. There are two characters that are comic relief. I find them annoying instead of funny. That drops it to a 9 out of 10 for you folks. Now, did you know that Gene Autry, that on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, there are a number of different categories that you can win a star from. And if you're good in multiple ones, you can win multiple stars. And that Gene Autry is the only person to have a category in all of the stars, in all the categories. So he's unique in that characteristic. You will want to see this. I'll link it to you again in the comments below for you folks. This is also similar to Lovecraft's Ghost Written short story in the Cthulhu mythos for his Yellow Bishop called The Mound. There's a very similar plot, very similar concepts. It's set in the same area in southwestern United States and such. So it has some similarities and such too. I think you'll like it too. Yeah, I just read The Mound as a reminder. I haven't done a review for it yet. I've recorded it, I just haven't posted it yet, and so forth. But I just did it for my Cthulhu mythos October that we're currently in for you folks, and so that'll be fun too. This has similarities and so forth. Now, this is of its era. For example, the characters are definitely more portrayed, particularly female characters. There aren't any characters of any race out there. They're just all white. But the female characters are definitely portrayed of their era. For example, early in the first episode, when the two brother and daughter, brother and sister pair up of the Baxter sisters, of the Baxter siblings rather, they're making an announcement on their live radio about us forming a fan support group for Gene Autry called the Thunder Riders. They basically are telling all the folks, and he says, the brother says, and he's telling everybody to come to the ranch and so forth, since his father owns it. And he says on the radio, and so I want all the boys to come over here and bring their stuff. And she says, and girls too. He says, I don't want any girls here. Don't be messing folks up, right? And then no girls show up, right? It's all guys, right? It's all boys that show up. So she's the only one there. As an example of that from the first episode. Just as a heads up, going into it is of its time, and it does have some of that concepts and preconceived notions and so forth. All right. And then finally, let's talk a little bit about serials. Like I mentioned before, this is a forgotten form of telling stories, right? And such. Basically, you used to have this used to sell movie tickets more than theaters, and more than theaters in a lot, movies did in a lot of theaters, right? At the time, you would oftentimes go for a 4 or 5 hour day long, starting from maybe noon till 5 p.m. or something like that. You would go and you'd watch some shorts like newsreels, trailers, and cartoons like Steamboat Willie and stuff like that. That's the reason why those are so short. They would be shown in the movie theaters before and after themes, and then you would watch. But there were a few trailers actually, not as many as you might think. Then there would be an A film that was the big production one, and so forth. And a trail, and then maybe another short, and then a serial with all the cliffhangers and how's this person going to survive and so forth. Right before intermission, to make people come back and talk about it during intermission. For you folks, and then you would go to intermission for 20 or 30 minutes. You'd have some lunch, talk about the films that you watched and the shorts and the serial that you just finished, and how's that person going to survive, right? And so forth, and keep the audience there. And then they would show up for a after intermission, and they'd have another couple of shorts and a B movie that oftentimes may just be an hour long. This is very, very short, and such. And then they would show up for that and such. And then another couple of shorts, and then the best serial of the day to leave them hanging and talking about it out at the movie theaters. And it was the water cooler talk at the time too. Great stuff for you folks. Now, this company that made this, Mascot Pictures, specialized in B-film westerns for them folks, not A-film westerns or any other genres. They just did B-film westerns and serials. And I think that this at 9 and 10 is their grand forgotten thing of the day. And I think this is an absolute classic. That's a forgotten thing and such. And that's why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10 for you folks. The only issue is the comedy relief, for lack thereof. That's annoying. And that grades on you too. So there you are. And have you read? So I would love you to watch this if you haven't seen it already. If you have, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. If you watch it afterwards, tell me about it also in the comments below. Please keep this a spoiler-free review for you, folks. So have you watched this? If you have, what did you? Please tell me what you thought about it. If you agree or disagree with my 9 out of 10 for you, folks, I'm happy to talk with you about it either way for you, folks. If you like this video, why not hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon if you're feeling frisky, and then let your friends know about Geometry Friends or, Western fans, serial fans, sci-fi fans from that era, and so forth. Just let them all know. I think it's all into it. And then if you like this video, I already told you. And then as a reminder, this channel's name is The Worst Thing About Nubelux. In this case, it's going to be the worst thing about movies that keep us from watching these serials and their impact. Right? They're heavily influential on modern films. Right? And they keep us from watching the things that are decades ago and that heavily influential or that we might have forgotten about in this case for you folks. And then finally, I just want to pause just to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing in watching my video, right? Because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spend this time with me, that's incredibly humbling and I appreciate it much. So once again, have a great day.